It's me. Welcome to my first video. Fun fact, I didn't see Wicked until about 3 months ago. Didn't know anything about it. Didn't know the plot. Turned out to be my life story. The story of the misunderstood Wicked Witch. Alright. I will talk at the end about why I'm starting this channel. But first I want to talk about how I'm starting over at 45 and how up till now I completely fucked my life. But plot twist, it was not all my fault. I think we beat ourselves up. I know I was. And then when you look back, you realize, oh my God, I've been through some significant, a lot of people have been through some really significant traumas and things that were not their fault. But let me get into how I fucked my life. There was 5 outcomes that I want to get to as well that you find when you do decide to start over. So I hope you'll take those away from this video if nothing else. But I do have to give a little background about my story in order to make those points. So the main way that I completely fucked my life was that I joined a cult. A cult of one, which was marrying my husband. I actually joined 2 cults because I was in a very, very toxic family environment. And in both of those relationships, my marriage and my family relationships, I was a complete and utter fucking doormat. There's no other way to put it. I was a complete doormat up until about a year and a half ago. So I guess you would call it a recovering people pleaser. Being a people pleaser will royally fuck your life, and that's what I did. But also I'm different, but I tried to make myself fit like square peg into a round hole. Another reason why I wanted to make this channel is because a lot of the people that I was interacting with, and a lot of people, I would say 95% of people out in the world see things black and white. They have all these rules and they're fucking bullshit. But I'm not trying to be a contrarian. I'm not trying to cause trouble. But yeah, I just don't see things necessarily the same way others do. So I was a complete doormat. I married my husband because I fell in love and because we had an amazing time, but also to please my mother, who is man crazy. On this channel, I'm only going to be honest about who I am. I'm only going to be authentic. I'm sure it will trigger people, but I know that you are out there, someone who doesn't think like their family does and doesn't want to succumb to pleasing men and getting validated by men anymore. And I'm not a man hater. I love men, but I'm just saying how I fucked up my life, okay? There is a new way where you can have relationships with men and be completely self-actualized and have self-respect. But I was not raised that way. I was trying to make my mom proud by being with a man who paid for everything. I still don't believe in 50-50. So I'm the only girl. I have 2 brothers. No one in my family ever gave me the respect that I deserved, but I didn't know that. I was this fully loyal, people-pleasing doormat. So my family are incredibly cynical, negative, like really small-minded people. But I thought, well, I convinced myself that they were the bee's knees, and I would overshare, tell them everything, share things with them only to always be shot down. My whole childhood was just me getting excited about things and those things not being cool, not being respected. Those things were not cool, those things were shot down. And I will get into, I'm sure I'll get into detail and give examples in my other videos, but those are the 2 cults I joined. I joined the cult of a marriage that went for 10 to 12 years and turned out to be a covert narcissistic abuse relationship, and I joined a cult of my family, which I was just born into, and I helped make it happen. Like with my brothers, I started the group chat. I was the glue that held us all together. And now I'm no contact with my family, and it's complete bliss. And it doesn't have to be forever, but for the past 6 months, I'm just completely turning my life around. It took about a year to recover from the narcissistic abuse, which I'll talk about in a second. And then once I recovered from that, I was able to start over. So I've been starting over for about 6 months now to a year, more like 6 to 8 months. And it's complete bliss when you learn to like give the double finger I don't know if you can see my hands. Give the double finger to the people who have disrespected you your whole entire life. It's bliss. And I've got a lot of work to do, but the transformation is extreme. And I just want to speak my mind, because there's other reasons too, but I feel like you're out there and you probably don't know what's possible for you. Humans are capable of so much more than we know or than we bother to try. And women in particular are being suffocated and making their family and their marriages their whole life, when actually you have the potential for so much more. And if you find that you're a super outcast, which I'm going to make a video on that, but if you have no friends, for example, or you're 45 like me with no kids and no desire to have kids, and you want to travel and see the world, but your family are more like 2.5 kids and a Volvo and stuff like that, well, yeah, I think that we should start speaking up more, those of us that are different in the world, because the more I realize that 90% of the world thinks a certain way, the more I realize that means there's 10% of us that don't, and we should, I think, get together and form community, even as we like being alone and by ourselves. So I do want to mention the covert narcissistic abuse relationship that I was in was the best of times and the worst of times. A lot of people will say, because they're just trying to be Reddit dickheads, oh, you're using the word narcissist, that is so overused, you don't even know. No, mine turned out to be a very textbook case, and I think it's more common than people think, but there are specific signs in the behavior of that person, and also afterwards when you're in recovery. There's specific signs that make it a very textbook case, and it's actually super fucking toxic and dangerous. I was at death's door. My self-esteem was in the pits of hell. So I will get into all that in other videos, but yeah, I escaped from that about 2 years ago. And when you go through something like that, your eyes wake up to how much of a people pleaser you are, and you realize that you've been surrounded by narcissists, raised by them, usually your parents. So that's what happened to me. You realize all the dangerous situations that you were in your entire life, and all the people who you thought you could trust and you were loyal to were actually just jealous of you or using you or walking all over you. So I will get into that in other videos. And a lot of people have just one narcissist parent, but the other one is good. So then you just have like a father wound only, or just a mother wound. You don't have both. Well, I have both. And I also have been through some other specific traumas. I don't know, I feel like I went through all that for a reason. I think God put me through all the different types of abuse, because then I could speak to people and know what they were talking about if they came and spoke to me about going through pain and trauma. So I'll get into all those in different videos, I'm sure. So that's the plot twist. I mean, you may have fucked your life. I royally fucked my life by being a doormat, by trying to fit in, by living only semi-authentically. If you asked my family, they'd be like, no, she's super extroverted. She did what she wanted. She speaks her mind. Actually, no. I lived in fear my whole life. Everything I would say it, but it would get shut down. And I internalize that shame. All of this will make sense in future videos, I guess, if I make them one by one. I can't get into it in detail here. Let me get to the outcomes. When you decide to start over and you realize you've been wasting your energy on people who didn't deserve it, basically, these are the things that happen. You realize you can reclaim your time. And time is a massive thing, because in our families, we're super loyal. Our time gets taken up by birthdays and group chats, and suddenly it's Christmas, and suddenly it's 4th of July picnic, or it's someone's wedding, or and your year is suddenly gone, and you realize, you look back and you haven't done anything with your year. Nothing. Another year has passed and you spent it on your family, and they don't even give a shit about you. You were trying to fit in, so you have to go to all those events, those family events, and when you realize that you can start over, you reclaim your time, and suddenly time becomes so precious, and suddenly there's not enough time in your entire life to get everything done that you want to get done. You realize your dreams and hopes and potential, and you just think, oh my gosh, how am I going to get all this done? But there is enough time, I promise you, but it takes a lot of the time. It takes going no contact or sacrificing those relationships that just drain you. Now, if you have a good family, this doesn't apply to you. I'm talking to you who has a mediocre, shitty family who treat you like shit, but they're also nice people, and you're the scapegoat, you're the odd one out. I learned this year, a family that has a scapegoat is a toxic family. And I was shocked when I learned that. I knew that I was the scapegoat of the family, but I didn't know that, that meant what it means, which is they're just toxic, and it's not something you can make a life in. And I stayed in that for 45 years. Anyway, the next thing is you reclaim your independence. So it probably goes without saying, but a lot of scapegoats are really dependent financially and just emotionally on their families, their approval. So they'll put up with a lot, and time will just pass them by, and they don't learn independence and being a grown-up. And I've had to learn that pretty swiftly in the last year. You reclaim your independence, you get a taste for independence, and you realize, what the fuck was I doing with my life? So that's another one. Along with that, you reclaim self-respect. I had no self-respect. I let everyone walk all over me. My hobby, I believed, okay, marriage is supposed to be hard, so I'll just accept whatever crap. And it turned out that he was like hiding properties and living a secret life, having affairs and things behind my back. So it's fine. I don't have a problem with all of that. This is another thing. People judge. They talk about cheating and this is wrong and that is wrong. No, I'm outside of all those bubbles. Like, fuck that. I am not here to judge all that. I think it's part of being human, being alive. That doesn't bother me. I don't, I think what's more dangerous is being with people, with a man who's capable of hate, like capable of hating you and keeping secrets from you when you're loyal and you're only capable of love, like you try to love. So you reclaim your self-respect when you say no to all that and step off that hamster wheel, step out of that cage. Another thing that happens is you learn what you're capable of. And this includes what you have not achieved yet. You learn, like, oh my fucking God, I have so much potential and I could literally do anything. And I was taking advice and allowing myself to feel shame from my family, and none of them, well, let me put it this way. I have 2 university degrees. I have an honors degree. I have a master's. And now I'm back at grad school, which will have to be a video for another time. But no one else in my family apart from my dad, goes to university, or even, they don't even fucking read books, y'all. Like, and these are the people whose opinions really matter to me. And I'm not saying you have to go to uni. I don't believe you have to go to uni, you know, to be a success or anything like that. But I think if you take a look at it, you'll realize you're capable of so much more, and you're capable of more than the people whose opinions you were allowing to validate you. If you're the scapegoat in your family, you are leagues above them. You are probably a genius, but these are topics for other videos. Okay, and another one is you accept where you come from. So it's not like you forget about it. You accept the fires that God put you through, the traumas are a big part of it as well. But you realize, like, other people who are born into nice families and things like that, they have problems of their own. So you don't really, you no longer have a problem with your problems. It's just, you just accept it and you move on. So that's 5 outcomes that happen when you start over. And I really wish for you, I wish for everyone the absolute bliss that I'm in right now. It's still going to be a long journey if you want to follow my journey. I want to quickly mention who this channel is for, if you're out there, and why I'm making this channel. I have gone through major transformation, like 180, and I want to share that with people. I want to share that with the me of a year and a half ago, who was on her knees. I'm 45, I have no kids, I have a cat and a dog who are my absolute best friends, and honestly, I don't know if I would have got through some of the hard times without them. I live in Sydney, and it is my desperate, utmost dream to get the fire truck out of here as soon as I can. But for now, I am stuck here for various reasons. And I thought, well, I may as well document it, and you can follow my journey and see if I ever get out of here. But, okay, I don't know if you can hear me. I'm like surrounded, it's like a horror movie at this point, the birds. Being 45, I lived through The Secret and Abraham Hicks. And then I also lived through feminine energy, and feminine energy is really fun. It's one of my favorite topics, so is manifestation. But when you're 45, there's a lot of young people making manifestation videos and feminine energy videos, and I love them and I follow them. But I think some of the communities around them are really young people that haven't lived through what we've lived through when we're over 40. So I wanted to kind of make a voice for that, because I would try to join those communities. And this isn't unusual for me, but I just would not fit in. So I thought, okay, I think there's space for a channel where we can talk about those things. All will become clear in other videos. I hope you follow my journey. If you're out there and you're stuck in a traumatic situation, a dangerous or abusive relationship, for example, or you're just a doormat, or you just want to change your life and start over, I'm here for you. We're here for you. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.